Going on, Jerome. So, of course, Wednesday is when the most accurate power rankings in the known universe drops. So, Tuesdays, we like seeing who the rest thinks. So, our weekly roundup of the national media Jabroni haircuts power rankings, that means nothing to us. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. So, first off, ESPN, the worldwide bleeder of viewers, they got the Vikings at 6, up 2 spots from number 8. And they're talking about who's been on the hot seat and current temperature. Preseason hot seat GM Kwesi adofo-mensah. Current temperature of the hot seat, frigid, cold. Adofo-mensah is the general manager of a team that surprised the NFL by starting 8-2 despite the season-long loss of rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy. His 2024 draft class hasn't helped much, similar to the 2023 and 2022 draft classes. But Adofo-Mensah's free agent class, including linebackers Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Viginko, Blake Cashman outside, how about that, along with the cornerback Stephon Gilmore, has been fantastic. There was never a high likelihood that Adofo-Mensah will be fired this winter, but the team's performance raises the chances that he will receive a contract extension. And also, Kwesi's free agent moves and this defense definitely gives me an extension. Next, The Athletic. Vikings at 7. Last week, there were 8. Seat temperature check. Similar thing here. Is there one knock on Kevin O'Connell? Of the 10 head coaches hired in 2022, he's the winningest and only one of the 2 with a winning record. Also, I mean, if Kirk Cousins stays healthy last year, the Vikings at least win double-digit games, maybe threaten for the division. Who knows? He moved to 28-16 Sunday. O'Connell survived Kirk Cousins' season-ending injury last year. I just said that. He's thriving this year after J.J. McCarthy's season-ending injury. He was smart enough and secure enough to hire Brian Flores as his defense coordinator. Honestly, find a person who will say something bad about him. And the hiring of Flores is really underrated as well, because some coaches may be insecure or have that ego, which is like, hey, I know that Brian Flores has a big personality. Well, kind of. But he's got a presence. That's a better way to put it. And former head coach. And sometimes, being a former head coach was like, oh, I've been a former head coach. I could do your job better, blah, blah, blah. And you've seen egos and chicken poop infighting. And the Vikings have had none of that. Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell work hand in glove. They're a fantastic team. And, this de facto dual head coach thing, one of the offense, one of the defense, it's actually worked out. And I don't think that it would have worked out in similar fashion with previous coaches. CBS Sports, next, number 6. Vikings up 1. Sling and Sam Darnold got back on track and played a solid game against the Titans. They needed to see that after 2 below-average games. Played a solid game. That was his best game in a Vikings uniform. Maybe the best of his career. Who knows? Yahoo! So Yahoo hates on the Vikings. They were at 11 last week. They're up to 10 now. The Vikings have 5 games left against teams that are at least 500 and 2 games against the Bears, who won't be an easy out. Oh, loaded the Bears. Oh, no, I got the Vapors. The Vikings are in great shape, but there are some tests ahead, which I don't know, man. As we said, the Vikings do have this chance to win out. Yes, 2 games against the Bears, but the teams with the winning records, Cardinals and Falcons both at home, Packers at home, Lions on the road. And then you're at Seattle, which who knows which Seattle team is going to show up. So on paper, sure. I mean, when you say 5 games against 500, at least 500 teams, but then you look at it and just okay, 1 week at a time, eat the elephant 1 bite at a time. But this is doable, man. This absolutely is doable. Next, Sports Illustrated, number 6. The Vikings at 6. Last week they were 5. They fell. Come on, man. The AI robots writing Sports Illustrated articles outside of our guy Will Ragg, it's they need to step up. Sam Darnold was the 3rd best performer against the Titans this season, which doesn't feel significant until one realizes that the Titans are the 2nd most zone-heavy team in the NFL. Darnold has shredded man coverage this season, but struggling against teams that play a higher load of zone. Much higher load of zone is my favorite Jars of Clay album. This season, but a struggle against teams, blah, blah, blah. Much like we're talking about Jaden Daniels seeing a lot of deep coverage looks, teams adjusted to Darnold, caused a bit of a squeeze statistically, and now we see him coming out the other side like good quarterbacks do. He's like Andy Dufresne, crawling through a mile of poop to come out clean on the other side. He shouldn't have chosen Taco Night. USA Today, Vikings at 7, up from 8. They're a league best 5-0 against the AFC. If only those wins didn't count for so little in the tiebreaker department. Again, all these backhanded compliments from the media. I mean, they count in common game tiebreaker, which is what, the 3rd. So head-to-head, division, conference, common games. So they come for something. PFT. So Florio just is added again. That's not a thermos. Vikings at 7. The Vikings are simply not fun to watch. Cool. But they rose in the power rankings. And then the Packers at 8, up one spot. They'd be 9-1 if they'd beaten the Lions and the Vikings. Well, if I have a very common but politically incorrect joke that I want to drop right now, but I can't because this is a family show. I don't know. But again, hey, keep hating, man. I understand that Florio is a hard scrabble Vikings fan who's been through everything and has seen everything, but at a certain point, you just got to give it up, right? Because I wonder, like a lot of fan bases, there's a certain section that is they're not happy unless they're unhappy, which is fine. I mean, not gonna tell you how to be a fan, but I mean, what happens when the Vikings win the Super Bowl? What happens to your brand? What happens to that stance? I don't know. 30-13 Vikings at 4, up from 5. It was another ho-hum win for the Vikings, but it was a win. Who leaned on their defense to get a win in Tennessee. The Vikings are 8-2 on the season. Oh, I'm sorry that they won a game on the road by 10 points. Would have been 17 if Jalen Naylor didn't alligator arm that one like Troy Williamson. Oh, me so sigh that they should have won by more. But they're 1.5 games back in the NFC North due to the 2-point loss against Detroit. Detroit's putting 50 up on other teams, but it's like, the 2-point loss. Yeah, that was a blowout. They'll have another meeting this season, and it could decide which team has a bye in round 1, which plays on the road in the playoffs. That's a pretty big deal. And then lastly, NFL.com power rankings of note. Eric Edholm, Vikings up 1 spot to number 5. Slinging Sam Darnold was charged with a fumble after his errant pitch on the Vikings third play of scrimmage. Errant? It hit Jones right in the kitchen, right in both hands. Like, do these people even watch the games? And there was a sense of here we go again. But the win over the Titans ended up being a big bounce back game for the quarterback, who played pretty darn well for 3 quarters until the offense went into a bit of a shell late. Darnold also took a costly fourth quarter sack that might have been more impactful against a better opponent. Again, picking nits. Still, the early fumble was his only turnover of the game. It's not even on him. That's on Aaron Jones. The Vikings defense did its job by sacking Will Levis 5 times, limiting the Titans' scoring chances, even with a few coverage busts. Tennessee ran 55 offensive plays. 4 of them accounted for 182 yards, and the remaining 51 plays netted just 112 yards. It wasn't artwork, but the Vikings won by double digits on the road. That's exactly what I'm saying. That is hard to do in the National Football League. Now the meat of their schedule lies ahead. The playoffs are well within reach, but they'll be tested down the stretch. Bring it. And what really troubles you? I mean, the Lions game, obviously. Seahawks on the road, maybe. But, I mean, you got most of your games at home. Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, Packers, oh my. Bring that ish on. But, this Sunday we're going to whip somebody's ass. It's going to be good, too. It's going to be fantastic. But that's it. Week 12, National Media Jabroni Haircuts Power Rankings Roundup. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You know what to do. Skol. Woo. Production value.